Of the speaker by DeAndrea Jones, a member of the Multicultural Advisory Board, followed by the keynote speaker, Queen Quet, the head of state for the Gullah Geechee Nation.
Good evening, everyone. Queen Quet, Marquetta L. Goodwine, the head of state of Gullah Geechee Nation, is a published author, computer scientist, lecturer, mathematician, historian, columnist, preservationist, environmental justice advocate, environmentalist, film consultant, and the artist. She is the founder of the premier advocacy organization for the continuation of Gullah Geechee culture, the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. Queen Quet has not only provided histo-musical presentations throughout the world, but was also the first Gullah Geechee person to speak on behalf of her people before the United Nations in Genevieve, Switzerland. Queen Quet was one of the first of 7 inductees to the Gullah Geechee National Hall of Fame. She received the Anointed Spirit Award for her leadership and for being a visionary. In 2008, she was recorded at UNESCO headquarters in Paris, France, at the United Nations Conference in order to have the human rights story of Gullah Geechee people archived for the United Nations. In 2009, she was invited by the Office of High Commissioner of the United Nations to come and present before the newly founded Minority Forum as a representative of the Gullah Geechee Nation and as an International Human Rights Association for American Minorities, which is an NGO in consultative status with the United Nations. Queen Quet is a directorate member for IHRAAM and for the International Commission on Human Rights. She represented these bodies in the Gullah Geechee Nation at the United Nations Forum on Minority Rights. Due to the fact that Gullah Geechees worked to become recognized as one people, Queen Quet wanted to ensure that the future Congressional Act will reflect this in its time and form. As a result, in 2006, the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Act was passed by the United States Congress and signed into law by the President. Please stand and welcome Queen Quet, Chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation.
Vicious, so long, crying, Lord, give we more time for cry. I've been in this your storm so long. Oh, this your honey time. Oh, this your honey time. Crying, Lord, give we more time for cry. I've been in this your storm so long. Now, you shall children today. Yeah, what's getting away? Now, you're going to go out. Right, children? And then wait. The children are going on pee. Yeah, what's new? And if I go and first get you, to go sabo there. But if fight for whatever be lying. Say I'm lying with this shit, then you. Come on. Too much time. Go on. Yeah. And I think we're panel so. Like we've been doing. I'll keep Mula. But this year now, you go and talk to us. And I'm like, they don't walk with it. We will get home. Grab them, get me up. Bless her. I didn't see what a tall. Some of we must be glad they get me. And come downstairs. I tell them to look wrong. And they had a crack. No nothing. So I mean, team up. Can't fall from wind. But you have to sit under it. All one quick short thing. March with it. For the cows. But there's some that still there in your show. Wait, stop for calling. Carolina call. But right was. Someone need the dead end, the indigo. Then they go on and grab that thing and look at it for me down. Then he be hiding this shot. But now they did it. But he had this shot called a Seattle court. How you know say? But they will capture the indigo, Mandinka, Maleka, Europe, Gordo, Gizi, Mandy, Tammy, feet. Baby, all that shit on the camera down there to one in the court. No, Seattle. So he named this your thing. They've been a grow. Not for their holler children. Not for we. But they've been a call me like that. Franciona. Gorton. Black Bull. Black Cargo. That in there what they yelling at. When they cut out them baby is. But now you're about calling this slave shit. When we to get you out. Every such a thing said. We there no slave. Ever no such a thing say. Everybody been born out of easy. And all kind of children there. And meet up today. But they call it red man. You ever see? And this store. All of them down yonder. But I don't in this show. I see people. What Let's order some people to rise up together. Then, God on a signal. He said, and I'm going to do this, you. Can't slave New York. What is your life? There many one. Well, fight for all of you. Somebody better fight for your own self. But even the devil looked over at you. Great God. We said we going through all that thing back of Yona. Look what the children do one another now. God. Heaven. But look. See back of Yona. We've been lost 7 and tossed with it. But that land in a cold country. Where they're going to get your nation now. So them been mean for evil. God mean for good. So you know that they're going to get you now. The children still there. But still mean for good. But the children have to know who it is. For no say nothing. But they're truly not. Have a no say blessing. They truly blessing. Because you planted on the no say. God, me, people blessed by God. Because they're not there to say, oh, they're not cracky people. They're not slick people. They're not cracky people with teeth from Kibula. Teeth, they're people who've been in the world. They're who've been the engineer. They're who've been the scientist. They're who've been the healer. But see, when they came young, change up everything. Just like if Red Man tell me, so this year with Chipwell. Then near in Carolina. After that girl, we over yonder. Near Princess Carolina. See the shaman. Near all kind of thing after your own self. Even the highway where they're going through it called the King Highway. As the rock them say, they'll stick this your land for your own people. But you know one thing? We people no see. Can't walk. God met a human. So it ain't a television. 100 of you. 100 of 3/5 a human. And we know such a thing. That brother was on the head with the cracky teeth. Then tell the other, so John said, when I know how for cracky teeth, no other recipe. Tell them yet to be so really. We do know your language as well. And they're like, really? Yes. But for generations and generations, just like they thought that the African human beings were not whole human beings, but 3/5 of human beings, they also then did not feel that part of that 3/5 was a brain that then held on to culture, that could create community, that had established customs, that had math and science before other people in the world ever knew what that was, that had already come from kingdoms as well as villages, that had established themselves as engineers, architects, blacksmiths, medicinal herbologists. Because how could you think that could come from that which is not whole? 3/5 never makes the whole. You have to have all 5. But in the Gullah Geechee Nation, our people knew for play a fool for Keshwan. So they let that cocky on some people who think that they haven't know nothing, tall and things like that. They think that they haven't no money. And meanwhile, they understood everything that was being said around them, while they spoke and others around them didn't necessarily understand what they were saying. But they used their code switching ability to be able to communicate and live in these 2 worlds that they were now forced into living in. A world that recreated Africa along the coast from Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida, and 30 to 35 miles inland to the St. Johns River, while also then having to go into mainland areas that now were renamed places like Carolinas, that today are North and South Carolina, then La Florida, and later Georgia, where they knew when they went there, they would encounter the British and they might have to speak with them this way. And they knew they might go the other direction and have to say, ¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo están ustedes? Because they would encounter the Spanish there. But in between, they knew they were in a cracky teeth like a shell. Everybody would have did it, would have shell of our Kabulan Konosan. And so wow, they made others believe they had left everything that made them African behind in Africa. At the point that they have been kidnapped and enslaved here, they instead kept their drum beating here. But yet today, when those ancestors look down along what's now the Gullah Geechee Nation, they often wonder, what happened? Where did our people go? Because those can't be our children, did they? No manners. The cracky people all kind of thing in front of all the people. Now take care, unless you don't mind yourself. The gal children fast, the boy children trifling. This and that can't be the return children. Not tall. Like a time like this year. After all we going through, for fight for them, for acting, and for have land, and for know we not. And then to listen to the other rest of people that did tell them, say they don't what? Start with an N. We not let N tell we that. And we've been enslaved. We knew better. We knew we were Igbo, Mandinka, Malenke, Yoruba, Gola, Gizi, Mendi, Tendi, Ifik, Ibibio, and all of these people. God make we forget. We're not yelling at cracky people who try for champion and something else. But we know, God bless we for be who we are. And have the strength and the power inside to endure a journey of weeks to months across the Middle Passage while we watch others die chained to us in the belly of the beast. We watch babies pushed out of the womb in the belly of the beast while the blood and the placenta drip down with no midwife there to catch her and the baby survived. But the moment they told us to come up above the deck so they could throw salt water on those that they had already whipped and had open gashes on their skin as they got closer to the Caribbean, the mothers would jump overboard with their babies because they knew freedom would be found there quicker than where these enslavers would take them. But the rest grew from the power, the spirit, the will to survive on the strength of each other as we communicated with one another while the enslavers still never understood a word. So could we believe today that instead of the cracky teeth like Alicia, the children speak this way and they seem like they can't get understanding amongst each other? When we spoke a multiplicity of languages and somehow managed to put them all together as easily as it is for us to take and pack things into a basket. We took all of our different languages, Vai and Tui and Yoruba and all of these and put them there and they come out like Alicia. But we had we own thing. And then children now the throne with. Great God, what thing for look down on. So our ancestors said, see, you know what take? Sometimes the children have to be getting together. And even that time, you used to have the elders. They get out there upon the porch and would have got 100 children around. After you done have a little bit for nowadays, 100 children got these young boxes, thing on the corner and your mash number, and then mash some of the rest of button, and light the thing come on, and all kind of nuclear explosion happen to the food, and then it take out a box, and then now one thing we ain't first know what it is. See, back you on the food be grow. See, it ain't come out supermarket, that way y'all think food come from, right? Food grow on the ground. Carolina gold broke the ground. Could have now put that big old pot of Carolina gold in the evening time. Especially after somebody done gone to the creek store and done bringing some money. Crap! Crap! God! Don't have no money to tell you how so sweet in and things like that too. Crap! Yeah, now evening time. Have you done now for now? Who biscuit you had a biscuit you wrap on ya? Or you take that fried bread and leak oil and gravy off that plate or that pot top or whatever on the head. Great day. Ha! Ooh, that was a eatness now. Till I know the handy me box or thing like this. Yeah, one day till I'm so weak. So I look at that thing and tell you, say, great God, you had that thing for a sticky born, you know. Hell, y'all used to tell me. Had that yellow grits in the morning. Great, where you know about yellow grits? I ain't tell nothing, no yellow grits. See, I think, why y'all think you go in the supermarket and play in the box? No. I tell you how them yellow grits, how that bacon and then and kill everything but the iron out the hog and thing. Great God, they could have put them together. Somebody go in there, chicken coke, and I get that man egg out of there, crack up, and have big old black skillet. Just get it. Cook that thing right on down. And then after that bowl, they're clean. So time turn and crack from there. You get up and you go and walk. I'm all in and walk in the evening. You right for sit down. Sit down on the board, some of the oil and mama them, sit there and get it together and start with sewing quilt today. Yeah, we put together all that thing from the apron, what that here, it would give somebody else a little skirt and thing, and then back on you know. That's Sam grits, and I Sam rice and thing, used to come in cotton bag. And then they could have cut that, and if you make some nice pretty cotton for put to that windows, you get out, you would get one new apron or something like that. And then after you're done with that through, you cut through that and make up a nice quilt like this. And top of hold you down and keep you warm. Then in the car, you lay down in the bed like this, and two people put them on top of you. Instead like that, oh no. Because you got somebody did it, crack, did it, three of you warmed up. Oh yeah. Now, he will not talk to. I got this young thing, you turn the switch on in the house, and the house still cool. That ain't cool when that bill comes. You don't pay him, you'll find out what cool is for true. But I tell you today, so much of thing not change. And I see people run the porch together no more. In the evening, like we together, you know. So other than know what's your first cousin, and your first in-law say, them children went down across that road, John over there, we live by that cabin and things like that. Y'all be heading by Roseville Plantation? Yep, oh great God, the children ain't no Roseville Plantation. Anybody else, y'all been over Mars Bluff? Oh, shut your mouth, y'all ain't fussing on that. Y'all don't say that now because I say you ain't know about Roseville. Well, if you know about them, you know I say the people who be dead, come up to grow this your Carolina gold, ain't it? Them people work hard. And you see, right John I get to the home school, way named after that man, Francis Mary. Swamp Fox. That man, that where they cabin and thing, put them right there. With the family and thing we build with your own hand. See, them people ain't be trifling. Couldn't go in no store and buy nothing. Everything they use for what the field. Everything they use, even that family to talk about, the blacksmith maker. All that thing is made by hand. That why, that quilt, that basket, everything, the castanet, all they taking time to do. And while I used to take it time and make things by hand, and sometimes used to sing, and sometimes used to crack your teeth, and then I would have learned about who in your family though. So you would have known if them people from Roseville over yonder been Hunter's third cousin, because she would be happen, Hunter uncle, granduncle, and things like that on Hunter daddy's side. But going one evening, after they been done kissing and put on one of the things, see, him been done come back from down yonder, had him one time, in Charleston to the porch on the understand? So then when they behind him did it, when he been came back, him bring some of fishing thing up here. And then when him been get up here, him been done see one get out here one time, when they been sent across to the Mars Bluff, you understand? And so he asked them for going on for visit that gal. And when they go in there, they go in there dry hands. See, the see boy and they come to y'all dry hand now. Y'all still talk to him anyway, but that woman ain't gonna tolerate that back at y'all. See, so he going in with that meal and then my blood. So when him get over there, you understand? Him and the woman gonna see each other for a while. And I had 16 head of children. So when you just say, I ain't kidding them, because they're down the road, you story. Because all of them 16 head of children been had about 10 children each. They're most populated, all of this, by dry self. But see, if you ain't know who you are, how you gonna know who your people are? No. So that's why the elders would have gathered you in the evening, and you better sit on a monkey right there and get away there. And after that, they're going to tell you who your great-great-granddaddy, your great-great-grandmama on your mama's side and on your daddy's side. They're going to tell you who your first cousin done, how much a churn he had in the house, how much he had out that house, how much a churn, where the churn going, what to do, and all that kind of thing. If you're trifling, if it's good, if it's story too much, or if you can trust them. Tell you all that. Because that's where people are. So even the day, 100 the day you're truly going to get your nation, you got your mind. Because that could be your cousin. It can't be just a whole lot of all kind of people in. You better find out who we done. See, when I go on from your people, all the rest of people call it the pedigree. You better find out the pedigree and mean that dog food in the store. Because you want to know who you're dealing with. What kind of person is this? And if they don't know themselves, and you don't know yourself, please don't have no churn. Because the churn could be worse. Because you can't teach them anything. So our elders will tell you, slow yourself down. Just live. And if you listen, you can learn a lot. So when you get up the next morning, all them things they told you on that porch the night before seemed like it just sang to you in the morning. Along with them birds and things. And you know, ain't nothing more pretty than a sunrise across the Carolina coast. I tell you the truth. Sometimes I wonder, is it the sun shining so bright, that's so pretty on my own people that make it so beautiful to me. But sometimes it seems to me like my own folks don't often know they're beautiful till February comes. And somehow, if February even lasts 29 days, they done forgot by the evening of the 28th day. Because come March, they back to whoever somebody else tell them they are instead of knowing who God made them to be. Because even during chattel enslavement, others wrote of African people as black gold. I have yet to find anybody speak of gold that doesn't think it's rich. I have yet to find anybody that if somebody said, I'm going to give you some gold, would say, no, you keep that yourself. They'll take it, if they take it to the local pawn shop just to get it appraised. Right? Now somebody in here wouldn't take it, tell me. I ain't get no take to that. See that? Same thing now. But people, when they know your value, they will exploit it if you don't know your value. And that's what happened during chattel enslavement, was that African people were stripped of knowing their value, the value of their story, the value of their culture, the value of their language, the value of their spiritual practices. And today what people often refer to as crafts, which were actually utilitarian. They weren't done to be pretty, to sit for people to just come and gaze at. They were made for use. And so in the community, when things had to be made for us to use, we worked together. That's why y'all ever hear that song say, work together, children, don't you get weary. Y'all ever hear that one? Y'all ain't heard it nothing because y'all would have joined in just now. Y'all heard it because I've been singing this. Anybody know that song? Y'all would have sing right with me just now. Let me see now. Work together, children. Ooh, y'all weary already. Stop. Stop. See, y'all ain't ready for nothing. Y'all see. I can pray for y'all. We can start an oil line right here. We can start a 9 oil line. You know what I mean? Try this year. To work together till don't you get weary. Work together till don't you get weary. Work together till work together till work together till great camp meeting in the promised land. It's a great camp meeting in the promised land. The great camp meeting in the promised land. Well, all of we over here going to the promised land, we can left them on the plantation. Cause over here, then done weary, then done tired. We ain't gonna carry them coming back. Left them young. We could left them right to the cabin over yonder and let them keep working this Carolina boy rice if it can make it. Okay, amen, yes, brother. Crazy, I tell you, we tell them, don't you get weary. I think they heard get weary. Because that group start off with 2 voices and end up with none. But so, and quiet, if y'all ain't help me, Lord, y'all know I've been going to put oil all over y'all just now. And so, you know, today, when people come to the community and they don't hear us join together, they don't hear us work together. And I say, hear us work together. Because when our ancestors worked, you would hear our cadence in the work. They have been to sing dry long soup. They have been to sing to drop them like it be hot. Okay? They've been working. So if you've been out yonder and people been to do work together, chillin', don't you get weary. Work together, chillin', don't you get weary. If somebody been putting the boat, the oars been to grind down same time. Don't you get weary. Work together, chillin', don't you get weary. And that oars not been to bring in the back two together. They been to left one man for doing the work by himself. They been to left one woman for doing the work by himself. And when I've been behind, what do you think the rest of the people would have done? Oh, y'all didn't know. At all, they would have do what you call bring up your rope. They would have helped you finish what you had to do. Not like y'all, oh, you ain't finished? All right, I can. What is that? They don't care if you were cooking, you were harvesting, you were sowing, you had the baby there to shake. They was going to help you till you finish the task. That was the difference because they lived communally instead of individually. Amen. Western society has taught people of African descent individualism. That was not an African tradition. So Black History Month affords the opportunity for you to gather together again, whether it's on the porch or whether it's in an auditorium, where you can learn the reality of your culture, that every African person, even during enslavement in South Carolina, was not barefoot as they indicate in Hollywood, but that in fact, even on islands like where I'm a native of, St. Helena, we made shoes. And shoe lasting was taught at the oldest school for people of African descent in America, Penn School, which is now Penn Center today. African people knew these traditions and they knew blacksmithing and they knew architecture before they were kidnapped. There was no on-the-job training as some of these falsified documents would lead you to believe in history classes today. The Africans were selected because of their knowledge and then exploited because others valued more their knowledge than some of their own people valued their knowledge. So in 1926, when Carter G. Woodson founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which today is the study of African American life and history, ASALH. That group came together and said, we need to document and we need to find the documentation of the things that Negroes at that time, as we were called, later black people created. What month is this? It is February, and that's all you know. Huh? Okay, I heard somebody whisper, say it loud. Right, Black History Month. Was there always a Black History Month? What was before? Okay, and it was Black History Week, right? Started out as Negro History Week, right? In 1926. It wasn't until 50 years later, in 1976, that we expanded and started celebrating the month. And today, we often wonder what happened to our people remembering that there's a celebration going on. In the United States and other parts of the world, they celebrate it in February, but in England, they celebrate in October. And I've been there for their celebrations, which look more like multicultural celebrations, as opposed to Black history celebrations. But yet, here, we have the opportunity to live in a region, live in a place where we walk over our ancestors' history, walk by it every day, and don't realize. There are others who are journeying here to learn it this month, when we could live it every day. And we would honor the legacy of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who founded all of this, if we realize that. If we realize the value of how timeless not only is the Gullah Geechee legacy, but the legacy of people of African descent in North America to have survived chattel enslavement, to have survived the Jim Crow era, to have survived the segregation era, to have survived the civil rights movement, to now be in an era of human rights movement within the Gullah Geechee Nation. So when you hear the bio that talked about me being at the United Nations and at UNESCO and various other places, yes, many historians, they are familiar with Gullah Geechee culture because of Carolina Gold Rice or Sea Island cotton stories and the history of the plantation and indigo and so on, and how it went around the world and made riches for many, many European people while disenfranchising Africa and draining it of its brain trust. But they want to know, why am I there today? And when they find out that the reason I'm there today is because the people that they read about still exist, they're amazed. When I can tell them that my grandfather planted and harvested rice, my grandfather, not my great-great-great that I never saw, but my grandfather used to do it, and that my family still owns the land on which he did it, they go, you cannot be serious, really? And this is in North America? I said, yes, on the Sea Islands that sit in the Atlantic Ocean off the Carolina coast. And they're surprised. Our African brothers and sisters come to me and they say, sister, how do you know these words? We heard you speaking. That was you. You made a speech a while ago in this other language. What language is that? I said, Gullah. What is this Gullah? What is this Gullah? They are Gullah people that we know. Who are you? You look Mende. I said, I'm Gullah Geechee. Ah, what is this Gullah Geechee? If I mention things like potato pone, they say, how you know of this? You said red rice. Red rice? Let me see this red rice. They said, oh, that is jollof rice. I said, to you it is jollof rice, to us it is red rice. Ah, you are the same people. You are my family. You are my sister. I said, I know this. I'm glad you do. Blood knows blood. But then we need to respect the blood that has been spilled here by our ancestors for us to be afforded an opportunity to come together and celebrate who we are today. It was no easy time of it. And so I loved the fact that the sponsors for this program ended up saying they wanted this to be a celebration called Gullah Geechee, a timeless legacy. Because that means no one can relegate it into one era and one period of time. That means they respect the fact that the culture is still alive, that it's still vibrant, that it is still here, even though there may be some of us that don't want to admit that's our culture, even though there are some of us who didn't know it was our culture. Well, my honey yet me to crack with teeth like this, you go, wait a minute, that sounds like my aunt, you know, when she get mad, she talk like that. Some of y'all say, that's why I was thinking, y'all have tweeted that too, right? Auntie Queen quit sound like you when you mad. I know y'all did it. Just hit me up. I'm at Gullah Geechee on Twitter and Instagram. Go on. So, here it is, that all these years later, your ancestors of Mars Blood, of Roseville, of the PD, that one who been down here only is 17. What do you think they're doing right now? Shout! Hey, that's right, hey! Alright, they shout because they said, look at that children. That children still remember who we are. Because they're out there with a bunch of foolishness going on. That children going in there for Lord by themselves. But you can hear me talk all night. The difference is, who are you going to teach now? Because if we want it to be a timeless legacy, we all have a duty to pass on the legacy and the tradition and the positive elements of it to the future generation. And don't think you're too young to teach somebody. Because a baby this size here can teach you plenty, and you can be way up in the edge if you pay attention. And you're not arrogant and think that all the good sense came in the world the day you were born. You can learn till the day you leave here. And so there's so much more that can be taught. There's so much more that could be shared. So I'm going to give y'all an opportunity, because you might have some specific questions for tonight before we go into the book signing and the CD signing. But before I take the first question from out there, I just want to thank everybody who participated in the organizations that are sponsoring this tonight. I also want to thank, where's she at? Where Miss McCann at? She in here? Where's she at? She wasn't here. Oh, she had to go to a meeting. I figured she'd be wearing multiple hats. She's been in and out of here for the past couple hours. But I definitely want to thank her for all her work that she did to coordinate everything, get everything together. I definitely want to thank Francis Marion University and everyone here, your deans, your folks that are in administration, because there are many universities where they will never have a Black History Month celebration. So you're blessed to be in an institution that values the story of their own community and the legacy here. And I have talked about Francis Marion University for years, because this ain't the first time I presented here. And so I always say to people, it's a blessing for somebody to invite you in their house the first time, but when they invite you back, then you know you all right with them. So when I got, thank you. I'm all right with y'all. Y'all all right with me. So I can tell all y'all, no man is one who walked right by me and didn't say hello this evening, but I can tell y'all mamas. All right, I can let y'all slide this time. But something I want you to keep in mind is what the elders always taught me. Manners want to take on away when they can. Okay? So it don't hurt nobody to say to another person, whether you know them or not, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, hello, peace, how you feel? And when you ask how you feel, please pause. Not, hey Bill! You don't even know. The person could say, I ain't well. You gone. You supposed to carry a little while. How you doing, sister? I'm well. How long? You know what? You know what? How you would tell your mama to do it? Say, Queen, quit. Say, hi, all right? You all right? Okay. Go to your mama's house, sit down. Next thing, go to the elder's house and sit down, talk to them. All right? Just tarry. Slow down sometimes. You'll live longer. Okay? And then, as long as you live, you wouldn't look your age. Some of y'all, when you talk about how old I thought some of y'all been, and then they said, y'all go to school here. I said, oh. What you been in administration? You're a freshman. But yes, but it is definitely a blessing to be back in Florence. I'm usually here just about every year at the Sankofa Festival as well, so it has been a blessing to be here. I'm sorry y'all let my football team go in all that. I used to come for them too. But it's definitely a blessing to be here. Any other questions, comments? Which side? Wait, yes, right here.
Okay, I'm on the faculty here.
How you doing? What's your name?
I'm Eddie Harding. I'm the professor of German.
Excellent.
And in April, I'm going to Germany to a linguistic conference, and I'm giving a talk on Gullah Geechee.
Are you?
I am.
So you're going to talk about us behind my back?
I'm going to talk about you behind your back.
All right. Well, I hope that you pull up some of my videos and at least show those
I've
while
already
you're in
done
Germany.
that.
Excellent. Well, I mean in Germany now.
Well, this is at a linguistics conference.
I know.
And so it's going to be done from a linguistic standpoint.
Yes.
And I'm a linguist also, so that's why they're going to let me do this.
Yes.
But I was going to ask you the question. Is other languages such as the Creole language in New Orleans and others have been dying out. Gullah Geechee, and the part I'm talking about is why has it survived? Why not only survived, it's had a resurgence and it's doing very well with culturally. We just came back from with some friends from Germany down around Charleston and went to the Gullah Theater down there. There's the Gullah Museum right on Hilton Head.
Right.
Why is Gullah doing so well? Is it because of the culture connected to it? Is it because geographically? Is it because of the families? Why has this language and culture done so well when other languages and cultures in the United States, all over the place, Indian, are not?
Well, there's a couple of things. And one thing that immediately comes to my mind is the title of the first documentary that ever bore the words Gullah Geechee Nation in its title, and that is The Will to Survive. So because our people ourselves had the will to continue our language, continue our traditions, even if they did it in hiding, during enslavement and even as we grew up, people knew how to code switch. My teachers never knew, K through 12, that I could speak Gullah. When they would see me present at a school program or start seeing me present at community programs and do things in Gullah, they were like, oh, she just good. She know how to pick up things that she just acted. They never knew, no, this is my life. And now these are the same teachers who were whipping kids. Literal corporal punishment for speaking Gullah in the school, okay? And many of my mother's here, many of her teachers had become the administrators of the school districts. So people had long since learned, you could do it, but don't do it where outsiders or people who don't respect it hear it. So there was always a community that continued the language, and you learned it at home as your first language, but you also learned that when you went out with these other people, don't necessarily let them know. And so I believe that helped to encapsulate the culture in such a way that it was allowed to continue to survive without being in the face of everybody else. Now, what others have said to me is that they feel that if the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition that I founded had never come along, then it would have died out, like a lot of other languages that are now on the endangered world language list and all of this, because there were too many people in their middle age and elders who had been indoctrinated, and this is a quote, you will never get anywhere speaking like that. You will never get anywhere in life. That is backwards, it is ignorant, get rid of it. These were the people who were now teaching us in school. So they felt Gullah was a bastardization of English, or broken English, which it never was, as you know. And so here it is that people had to code switch. And I feel that it is the will of the cultural groups of the people. It is the geographic location and the fact that many of us who speak the language fluently are those who lived on the islands, as opposed to those who got forced migration into some of our more urban centers like Savannah and even into the city, peninsula of Charleston and then into places like Jacksonville on either end, where then they were more inundated with people who spoke American English all the time. So they had opportunities to continue to speak their language fluently, as opposed to the decreolization that you see elsewhere. And I feel like with the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition making it very clear and being very adamant that never were we backwards, never were we ignorant, but in fact we were always bilingual and in some cases trilingual at a minimum as Gullah Geechee people. You could clap. I heard somebody go like that and then stop. You couldn't feel it. But I feel that then the movement we started to make people question previous writings. There was an article that we have in the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition archive that said Gullah's Last Dying Breath. That was the title of it. Those were the things outsiders, linguists especially, had long since written about us because Gullah Geechees weren't letting you in to hear our real language. But people who were not true Gullah Geechees might perform something for you. And you thought you were getting a language from them, but you weren't. You were getting an act. So I believe it is the people, it's the isolation factor, as you mentioned, and it's the culture itself and the different things we've learned to use to protect our family compounds and protect those things which are sacred. And that which is sacred to you, you don't just throw it out there on the grass and let anybody run over it and run off with it. You keep it, you treasure it, you keep it inside, you hold on to it. So now, because we have the internet, and I'm a computer scientist by degrees, so I actually put up the first website in the world that had Gullah Geechee in the title. I had the first listserv in the world and still have it that is focused on Gullah Geechee culture. And that began to expose more people in the world to the culture and the language in a way that they respected it. And that made more Gullah Geechees take more pride in it and want to start speaking it publicly. And want to start teaching the younger people, or the younger people desire to learn, as opposed to when I was coming up, more people were saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So people were getting rid of it and telling the kids, I better never hear you speak that way. So now today, what's wonderful is that there are a lot of Jewish people and a lot of people who used to speak Gaelic. They come to me crying and embracing me when they visit here, they see me at the UN, because they say, hold on to your language and hold on to your culture. Because we taught our children not to, and now none of them can speak it. And theirs is dying. So we're fortunate, and I feel everything has to do with the fact that you probably figured this out too. The word Gullah is people blessed by God. I feel that God blessed us to be able to hold on to it, but it was the people's will to keep it that has kept not only the language, but the cultural traditions, the some of which I talked about tonight. Yes. And that's why I'm here anyway. It's the Gullah Geechee Land and Legacy Tour. So people know we have a legacy that we're still holding on to. And it's on this land. So I'm glad you asked that. And please look me up in Germany, because German television, German radio, the biggest German newspapers, all of them have published stories about me and the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. And since you speak German, I guess you'll be able to read it.